What is up, and welcome back to 24 Minutes of A24, the podcast that takes a look at the A24 library 24 minutes at a time. I'm Ethan Simi.
And I'm Ben Lawhorn. This week on the pod, we are reliving our middle school years with Bo Burnham's feature film directorial debut, 8th Grade.
An introverted teenage girl tries to survive the last week of her disastrous 8th grade year before leaving to start high school. As is the case with all of our pods, spoilers are ahead for Bo Burnham's 8th Grade. This movie is fantastic. We're going to talk all about it. We put it to a vote, and our listeners, all of you lovely listeners, voted that we talk about 8th Grade. So here we are talking about 8th Grade. Before we get into the movie, before we talk about this film, lots of housekeeping to do. But first of all, Ben, I just want to know, how was Thanksgiving, man? Thanksgiving happened last week. We haven't talked about it yet. How was it?
I mean, I had a good time. I took a couple extra days off work, so it ended up being like a 6-day weekend for me. So, nice. Can't complain about that. Yeah, how about you?
That's solid. I did not get a 6-day weekend. That sounds pretty nice. I drove home about 200 miles to where my family lives, so my girls and my wife and I could be with our family for Thanksgiving. We were there for about 22 hours, and then we had to drive back. So we did about 400 miles in like 22 hours. So it was tiring, to say the least.
Yeah,
but it was great. It was a good time. It was fun. I tried my absolute hardest to reinstill, because when I was a kid, we used to go see a movie on Thanksgiving. That was the thing. Like, you finish dinner, you go see a movie at the theater. And I was like, maybe this is the year that I can, like, my dad's not really a movie guy. The rest of my family not really movie people. And I was like, maybe this is my chance to be like, listen, what is in theaters right now will change your life. Let's go see a movie. And I even stooped so low as to be like, listen, I can fire up Top Gun Maverick right here on the TV. Let's watch Top Gun Maverick.
Nice.
And nobody bought nobody wanted the juice. And I was just like, okay, everybody else is lost. So I tried.
We have so many options out there right now too. There's just so many things you could go see. So that's
it's disappointing to say the least.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was a bummer. Okay, good. I'm glad that you had a good Thanksgiving. Have you seen After Sun yet? That was my next question to you. You were not on our After Sun episode, and then we did a draft, and now we're back to just you and I just kind of, chatting it up. Yeah. I don't think you've seen it yet, have you?
No, I have not seen it yet.
Oh,
put me on blast on the pod here. I know. It's like, honestly, it's in the top of like what I want to see. I just haven't gotten around to it. I think it's like maybe in one theater here. And yeah, I haven't made it happen yet, but I will.
It's hard to see it. That's the thing. And we've talked about this before. Like A24, their release schedule and their release slate is so hit or miss. Like we were planning to do the inspection a couple of weeks ago, actually, and it's nowhere. Neither of us can see it. Like, we don't know how to view it. Okay. I'm really disappointed. That makes me sad. Hopefully, like every other freaking movie right now, hopefully it comes to VOD very, very, very quickly.
Yes.
And we can just watch it together. We can buy it and watch it together.
Yes.
Okay, final piece of housekeeping before we talk about 8th grade. Last week was our first ever A24 draft. We did it. We had a good time. I hope you still feel like we had a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I won, right? Did I
walked away with the championship belt?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So we did the results on Twitter. We took it to a poll. We put up some very nice graphics that you made, Ben. And it was, we wanted everybody to vote. We wanted to know who thought had the best slate, who drafted the best A24 movies. And here's the thing. We all, Alden, myself, and you superiorly underestimated the "I'm here to have fun" gambit that Jade brought to the program, because she slaughtered us on Twitter.
She really did.
Took us to the slaughterhouse.
She really did. Yeah, I was like, oh no, I'm just here for a good time. I'm like, oh, it's like, oh, I'm like super tired. I'm not really here. Like, we'll just hang out. I'm not super competitive, and just like destroyed all of us. She destroyed my heart like twice, taking Midsommar and Marcel. But I jokingly said in our little DMs here, is like, I think she's the one person I want to like try to take down, but that was impossible.
You gotta respect the game, because retrospect is 2020, and I'm like, oh shit, she knew she had this locked, because she has a very adamant social following of some very good friends, it seems like, that really took to the polls. And you know what? More power to her. She played to the people. I respect that. If you weren't following along on Twitter, Jade got 68% of the vote. So again, just outright fleeced us.
Yeah.
Done and dusted. I am happy to say that I came in second with a whopping 14% of the votes, which is insane. But I feel good. I beat Alden by 1%. So Alden came in third with 13%. Ben, you came in last with 5%. I think you got like 2 votes, Ben.
Yeah, it was me and my burner account. I think that was it. I think it's the only ones that voted for me. For sure. I mean, it's the curse of like having the first pick, you know? It's like I got the very first movie I wanted, and I knew like Everything Everywhere, that was going to be it no matter what. But then you just have to sit there and watch like the 6 next best A24 movies go away before it comes back to you. It's like, oh my God. Like, I mean, Jay took Midsommar right away. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, oh, I thought that was going to come back around at least. Like it was done. But I'm excited to exact my revenge on our next draft, whenever that is.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm coming for the goal of everybody. I want the win. I want that win bad. We're definitely going to do another A24 draft at some point in time. We're just trying to figure it out. So if you have ideas, let us know. Get at us on Twitter, at 24 minutes of A24. Let us know what kind of drafts you want to see us do on the pod, because we honestly, you and I, we just want to do more of them. They're really fun. Yeah. Okay, 8th grade. Let's talk about 8th grade. I've heard really good things about this movie. This is my first time watching it. Have you seen this before?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters actually. Like I really like this movie a lot. So I was, big on Bo Burnham and was really excited for this film when I heard he was directing it and everything. So I was really happy that everyone chose this one to watch, because, there's so many things for everyone to watch that it's like I come across, I'm like, oh, I should rewatch that at some point, but you just move on to whatever the next thing is to watch. So it was great to have a reason to throw it on. And I mean, it's Gucci, I love it.
It's Gucci, baby. It's Gucci. This one with 70% of the vote on Twitter. So 70% of people wanted us to cover this. This is my first time watching this, and I'll be honest with you. And it's possibly because I have heard so many people be like, this is good. This is very good. Like Bo Burnham really knocked it out of the park. This is great stuff. I was about 30 minutes in and I was like, oh no, I don't know if this is mine. Like, I don't know if I'm here for this. And then we got to which we'll talk about. We got to the kind of the confidence monologue when she does karaoke at the birthday party, and I was like, oh shit, okay, this is for me. I'm in. Yeah. I'm locked in. So there was a kind of a big lock moment for me where initially I was just like maybe a little apprehensive. And I don't know. We'll talk through that. So general thoughts on the movie. Obviously, you saw it in theaters. You have to be a fan, I would assume.
Oh yeah, this is. Yes, I love this movie so much. I think it's so well done. I think Bo Burnham. I'm kind of curious, like when you first discovered Bo Burnham, because I think I had seen some of his YouTube stuff and then his stand up. It was like, I think the first thing that I was really exposed to, and it's just kind of interesting because I feel like he's one of those people that really grew up with the internet and the viral fame that comes with it. His first video that he put out, if you've listened to any of his interviews or anything, like, all this, but he had a little keyboard and he did this song called My Whole Family, and the chorus is my whole family thinks I'm gay, and he just keeps talking about like all these the kind of effeminate things, whatever that he does. Like, I don't get it. I don't know. It's a super funny song, and he's just, it's just an interesting perspective, I guess, to have for someone who grew up with that viral fame on YouTube to then, when he's at an awkward age, like middle school is the worst time of anyone's life. If anyone says it isn't, like they're lying, because that's just like the most awkward phase for every single person. It's nuts. So I think he was the perfect person to write and direct this. And you could really kind of see his understanding of technology and how we all use it, like in the movie, which I think a lot of like older directors, it's hard to really convey that because they didn't grow up with it. Like I didn't really either. I mean, whatever. I had like a cell phone, my first one, like I think I had graduated high school by the time, got my first Nokia brick, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't, and then this, they talk about, I got Snapchat in 5th grade. It's like, oh my God, I cannot imagine having Snapchat in 5th grade. That's a fucking nightmare. That sounds insane. So
disaster.
I feel I'm happy with where I'm at, as far as like how I grew up without the internet, but I can now, enjoy it because being on the internet now at such a young age sounds awful. But
yeah,
I don't know what were your thoughts on the movie? Like, what's your first Bo experience?
Yeah, I think you nailed it, and I think you articulated what I couldn't really figure out quite right now. Was that 8th grade specifically for me was like, I know it's the worst for everybody, but like I just have the most awkward memories of 8th grade where I was just like, this is the fucking worst. Like this was the worst time of my life. They're very like pinpoint memories where I remember specifically just like, this is terrible. So maybe that's why initially I was like, oh no, like I can't be here. I can't do this again because it was already so bad the first time. And there were definitely moments in the movie where I was just like, oh no. Like this is so awkward and it's so weird and it's so, but like, it's so perfect. Like that is literally, it had so to have struck a chord with me, right? It was so accurate. Exactly. Interesting tidbit about my first Bo kind of experience. So I guess technically my first Bo Burnham experience was his role in Promising Young Woman. We kind of chatted a little bit before we recorded. Like I didn't know he was in that until I was told like, oh, that's Bo Burnham. And I was like, okay, I don't really know what that means. I didn't grow up with Bo. I didn't listen to any of his music. I didn't know his YouTube channel. I didn't know any of that. And then in 2021, I watched Inside when it came out on Netflix, and I won't say it changed my life, but I will say that the second most listened to song on my Spotify Wrapped this year was a song from his album Inside.
Nice.
So it kind of changed my life a little bit. I think it's I truly think it's a masterpiece in what it has done for comedy and TV specials and how those types of really lofty themes can be articulated. But that was like my first true experience with Bo. So like I was introduced to him as a very vulnerable, thoughtful, clever person who's talking about monstrous themes going on in the world right now. And I was like, this guy is poignant. He is on it. It was not this like weird, awkward kid with a keyboard. So I have a very like skewed relationship with Bo opposed to you and probably opposed to most people. But I think it's wonderful. I think Bo is excellent.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm honestly like kind of jealous because it's one of those things where I don't know if you've gone back to visit either of his other stand-ups, or Make Happy, but it's just like knowing what you have to look forward to and watching those, just like it blows my mind. And,
Sick.
Make Happy is great. Like my co-host from the other pod, it was the same thing where Inside was the first experience and the other two of us were like, you have to go watch the others because Inside is amazing. It is a masterpiece. The confinement, all that kind of stuff, and what he pulled off. I think about Welcome to the Internet, like at least like maybe like once a week, once every 2 weeks. Like that song is so good. It's awesome. But his other stand-ups, What and Make Happy, are amazing. His production value, like you saw what he pulled off in one room, but like to see what he can do with the whole stage and everything. So anybody is listening to this or watching this and has an experience Bo Burnham, I couldn't recommend all three of his stand-ups enough, or his, I mean, not even really stand-up, you know what I mean? Like it's not like jokes, whatever, but I mean, just a quick, example, just, I think, I'm pretty sure it's What, but he has the entire show, the script of it written out behind him on the wall. So exactly what's coming, but he still is able to deliver it all, that it just is like kind of mind blowing, it's just like, oh no, he knew he was going to say that. Like it's like on the wall behind him, but like the way he still delivers it, it makes it feel like it's just a new thought that just happened. I don't know. I feel like the term genius gets thrown out a lot, but as far as like comedy and timing and all that kind of stuff, I think he'd definitely be up there. So yeah, highly recommend Bo.
Oh, baby. Awesome. Okay. I'm really excited. I'm writing one final paper for my term in grad school right now, and then I have like a month off of school. So my watch list is really fucking deep, and that's gonna go to the top of the watch list.
I'll watch after Sun. You watch Bo Burnham.
There we go. We'll do a movie. We'll do a movie swap. Perfect. It's a movie swap. I also wanted to shout out before we get into the true cinema. I was astounded. You say genius, but I truly do think that the music in this and the way it was scored was genius. I think it was fantastic, and the kind of like overt, abrasive techno tunes that are just drowning out the rest of the world to complete and utter awkward silence is such a good juxtaposition for this movie. And it was like from the get-go, I was like, wow, this is different. Like it is made in such a unique form. I just wanted to call that out. And then you have on our notes here, we get a lot of high school movies, a lot of coming of age high school movies. We don't get middle school, man. Why do you think that is? Why do you think Bo was able to pull off middle school? Nobody else can do it.
I mean, it kind of just feels like a challenge that not a lot of people want to take on because again, like we've talked about it, we already did, but just like it's a horrible time for everybody. Like your body's changing, developing. Yeah. You know, as a guy, you're getting called up to the front of the class to read something. You're like, I shouldn't be standing up right now. Like, I don't think this is a thing to do.
I don't think we can do
like,
this. Yeah.
It's just like everything is so weird. And so I don't know, while it seems kind of like ripe for, you know, comedy and stuff like that, I think it's easier when you're in high school because some of that stuff is kind of done and now you're trying to figure out who you are as a person. And I think maybe it just kind of seems like a daunting task, but that also kind of, to me, speaks to Bo's talent where he like went head on at this. He's like, no, let's really embrace how awkward it is to like, you know, be in middle school and maybe you're like, you know, the guy that's 6 inches shorter than everybody else, you know, like you're the scrawny dude who hasn't gone through puberty yet, or maybe you're the girl who went through, you know, puberty in 5th grade and you're like a foot taller than everyone. Like all that stuff is weird. That pool scene is just like, it's so awkward, you know, and everyone's got to like pretend that they're okay with themselves. So I don't know. I think it was a bold move to move forward with this kind of a story, but I also think he pulled it off. I think it's sitting still at like 99 or 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's a 99% on the old RT. It's insane.
Which is like, it's not like a perfect scoring system by any means, but I think there's some like, I don't know, it's justifiable, I think, to have that kind of a ranking. I think it's worth it. I think it's good. So if anyone is listening that hasn't watched it yet, I think it's something you should definitely check out.
Yeah, totally. I finished it and I told Molly, I was like, you have to watch this movie. You have to watch it. Yeah. It's what, 93 minutes long, 94 minutes. Like it's a tight 90. We love a tight 90. Love that. And yeah, I specifically, again, like I totally remember being in middle school and like going to the bowling alley and having conversations with girls that are like, hey, so you might have noticed my body's changing. And I was like not prepared for those conversations. And I was like, this is really fucking weird. And so that's real. Those are very real things. And the movie kicks off with that, with like a sex ed video and a kid masturbating in class or potentially, and it is hilarious. It is where you can find some really good awkward comedy gold. Okay, let's do true cinema since we're kind of getting into it already.
Let's do it.
We've got the intro video. Now this kind of sets up the really pretty ingenious mode of storytelling for this movie, and we get these voiceovers from Kayla, the main girl in this film, and it's her making YouTube videos. She has a YouTube channel, and Kayla, we feel you. It's tough having a YouTube channel. We get it.
It is.
So it starts off with her and kind of this monologue, this 2 or 3 minute monologue about like being yourself, and there's a few later on in the movie, and we kind of end with one, kind of coming full circle to being yourself. I thought this was a really smart way to start the movie, and I think it was a really kind of emotionally like a good emotional hook of like, oh wow, yeah, like I totally remember like being told this of like just be who you are, but you don't know how. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have no idea how. You don't know who you are or who you're going to be. Like it's this weird phase of you. I mean, you're still technically a child, but now you're going into this like pre-adulthood. You know, it's just like this is super weird time, and you're being told all this stuff by people who are already adults. Like, oh, it's just easy, be yourself. It's like, no, this is like it's so much weirder than it was when you were my age, and I think they'll just continue to be true forever.
Yeah, and the social media bit too is really, really fascinating in this movie. I think you're right. Like, not a lot of older directors are able to really convey that in a meaningful way. And like thinking back, like I have 4 younger brothers. We're all 4 years apart, and so when one of us was in high school, right? Like we're all in different schools all the time, and so like you get down to the bottom, and like they have Snapchat when they're in like 5th grade, and it's like that's insane. Twitter didn't even exist until I was in high school. Like that, it's just like such a different kind of time and the way that you interpret and perceive life through a device. Like I remember I had like the kick out, like the full keyboard, texting phone, and I was like, this is literally the coolest invention anybody has ever made.
The Sidekick, the T-Mobile Sidekick. Did you
have one of
those?
I love
that
baby.
phone.
Those are sick, and I remember that and like totally changing my life. And I could play Pong on it. That was was it, and like you couldn't do anything. And then anyway, that is crazy stuff. This movie's really unlocking a lot for me. It's really taking me back.
Yeah.
Next scene, dinner with dad. This dad. He's my guy. He's my boy. And I want nothing bad to ever happen to this dad. He is perfect, Ben. He's perfect.
That scene is so frustrating to watch from the dad's perspective because he's just trying to like connect with his kid, and it's that annoyance of like he's trying to talk to her, and the second he's done talking, her headphones go back in, and then he'll like try to continue the thought. She's like, what? Like, in his eyes, like, well, I wasn't done talking. Like, just because you were done, I wasn't. And it just, it made me think of just how frustrating that must be as a parent when your kids are that age, when they don't want anything to do with you,
Yeah, my daughters are 4 and 2 right now, and so like watching this, I was like, "Shit, this is gonna happen. This is gonna be it. I need to figure out how to deal with this."
Exactly.
And I do think the dad was I will be honest, he was pretty inventive. He was like, "Hey, can I just say one thing?" And he was like, "Well, it's a clump of things that I'm trying to say."
He's rambled on.
He just kept going and going. God, this guy is great. Next on the list, I have the BuzzFeed quiz / social media montage with Sail Away set over it. This is the absolute perfect encapsulation of middle school. This is, the song, the taking a quiz on BuzzFeed, like that was it, dude. That was the shit back in those days. And that, again, like that song came on and I was like, oh my God, I'm transported. This is great.
Yeah, throwing sticks on. Yeah, the BuzzFeed quiz phase, like it was just, you wouldn't even necessarily be honest with the answer. You're just trying to like,
you're just trying to get somebody you wanted. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, this isn't really what I would say, but I'm trying to get this person, so I'm going to answer it this way. But they're still entertaining. It's still a great way to like just pass time, but so interesting like to see that. And we see it a lot throughout the movie, but just like scrolling through social media and having the like almost the like responsibility or like I can't think of the right word, but it's like you have to like everyone's everything, otherwise he's like, oh well, Ethan didn't like my post, so I guess he's mad at me or whatever, but that's the way the emotions work at that age. And again, like so I'm so grateful I didn't have social media then, because like I'm horrible at social media now. I can't imagine how bad I would have been then, so those scenes were really affecting, to say the least.
Yeah, that's how I tweet right now. If you don't like my tweet, I'm like, fuck, I should delete it. We should start over. We got it. It wasn't up to Ben's par. Not good enough.
I DM'd him 6 minutes ago. He hasn't responded. What's going on?
Dude, that's literally it's like I DM'd him and he posted, but he didn't like my tweet. What are we doing wrong? Okay, next on the list. This is fucking funny. This scene to me is hilarious. When Kayla meets Gabe at the party that she goes to, very awkward. Full of popular people. She kind of just is there in the pool in a very bright green one piece, which I thought was a very smart visual representation of how she's feeling and how she is totally set apart from this very cool, older, hip group of 8th graders. She meets Gabe, and he's like, hey, you want to see me do a handstand? You want to have a breath holding contest? Here's the trick. You got to stay still because your body uses oxygen. We're going to talk about Gabe a little bit later here towards the end. This guy's the fucking man. He is the man of this movie, dude.
He really is, but it's funny because in that time frame, if you're in that age group, he's the weirdest dude. It's like, oh God,
absolutely.
like, no, Gabe's so weird, but being so far removed from that time in your life, it's like, no, he's the fucking best because he's just like doing what he wants to do. Like he just happens to be what's her name's cousin, so he is invited. He wouldn't be there otherwise. But yeah, it's like it's the tonal shift, like you talked about before with the music of just the awkwardness. Like the drama is built up. She's like standing inside the house, looking at everybody in the pool, everyone being, their version of hot or whatever, trying to be cool and stuff. And then she finally musters up the courage to go outside, and then like the sliding door only opens up like 8 inches,
funny.
It's like, oh my God, like it's so good. And then it's the awkward walk to the pool and all that kind of stuff. And you're just feeling this tension. And all of a sudden Gabe fucking pops up from the water with his dumbass like snorkel
with his face and nose goggle. Yeah, that's the key. He's got the nose.
Yeah, it's so good. But he does that so well, those tonal shifts. Like it makes me think of earlier. Is it Aiden? What's the boy's name that she has a crush on or whatever?
Yeah, I think it's Aiden.
I don't remember exactly, but there's this scene where he gets called and she's in a room with him, and he's like just walking slow-mo, and it's like the music that he's playing behind it that Bo chooses is just like this really, I mean, I can't even think of like how to describe it, but it's like, it's a very intense music. She obviously is in love with this kid, but we're just watching him and he's just a dorky fucking looking 8th grader.
Yeah.
Like he has this like oversized, I think Steph Curry jersey on, and his basketball
that
shorts.
Was
like
so funny.
He looks so dumb,
And he's wearing socks and slides, and I totally remember all the jocks wearing socks and slides. It's just like, okay, cool. You're all wearing the same thing.
And it's so funny because it's like, it's played off like this like romantic, like almost like Baywatch running down the beach, like super, hot, whatever. And it's just like this dumbass 8th grade kid that she's just in love with. And then it just like cuts and the music stops and it comes back to reality. And Bo does that so well throughout this movie. And I think the pool scene is a great example of that.
Yeah, highly, highly agree. Next one, I mentioned the confidence monologue over the karaoke.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of the moment where I broke and I was just like, whoa, baby. Okay, she's really trying. She really does. She wants to try. That's the thing. She is taking in some semblance of like what her dad is saying and how she wants to be and things like that. And we don't know what she chooses for karaoke. I'd love to know what kind of song she chose, because it was probably a weird choice, would be my guess. It probably wasn't a crowd pleaser.
I was honestly thinking it was like maybe like a Disney song or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. I'm curious what it would have been though as well.
That would be right in line with, getting her a fancy go fish for her birthday. That would check. So I really liked this scene. I thought it was good. And this to me was like, oh, cool. This is a really good storytelling device. Like we are getting a look inside Kayla's mind about how she's kind of progressing through these stages as she goes through school. Next one on the list I have here is the growing up monologue, and we get this kind of high school shadow day. There's a few moments, kind of like peppered in here that I'm not going to specifically call out. But this all leads to truth or dare in the car, which I feel like that is like that pivotal kind of final moment of the second act, really into that third act resolution. Man, I was squirming. I was having a tough time.
I mean, I've seen this before, and I was still like squirming. I was like, "Oh, this is so fucking awkward to watch."
Oh my god, dude! It was so bad.
It's so hard. Yeah,
that's the same kid from Funny Pages. Am I right? That's the guy.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, exactly.
So I saw that, and I was like, oh, okay, there's our Funny Pages guy. And then her kind of her shadow girl leaves, gets dropped off, and I was like, cool. We're gonna do this. All right, things are gonna go really fucking south from here. I think it was a good scene though. It was smart. It was needed, right?
Yeah, it was really good. It helped the character grow, helped us get to know her a little bit more and put her in that awkward situation, because it's that time frame of where like some people, I think mainly boys, but they're just like projecting this like sense of sexual confidence, where it's like, oh, do you give blowjobs, whatever. It's just like, you're just like talking tough, it's just like, I don't know. It's just so weird. It's so awkward. And I think this was, the scene that really kind of tipped the scales. Just like, I'm not ready for this. I can't do this, like just take me home. It was a very vital scene. Yeah,
absolutely needed. And, really, really well acted. It was pretty impressive. Then we've got kind of closing us out. We have this fire that Kayla has with her dad. Really the emotional kind of the huge emotional pivot of the movie. This is like the emotional fulcrum of the film, where she finally opens up to her dad. They finally talk about how life is and how Kayla is. And, she burns her box from 6th grade and says, the dad asks like what was in there. And she goes, well, all my hopes and dreams. That was really funny. And then she proceeds to ask, like, do I make you sad? And it's like, oh my okay, wow, this is really, really intense. And we get a little bit of answers on where the mom is, and kind of their relationship that they have. And then she ends that scene sitting on her dad's lap, and her dad is just like stunned. This was a phenomenal scene.
Oh, it was beautiful. Like her question of like, do I make you embarrassed or sad, or
do I make you sad? Yeah.
Do I make you sad? Yeah. Are you sad to be my dad, or that I'm your daughter? It's like, oh God, like, and he handles it so well. He was like, yeah, I mean, sometimes I have rough days. Who doesn't? But underneath all of that, I'm just so happy that I'm your dad. Mm-hmm. You know, like life goes on. Like you can have a shitty day at work, but still be glad, you know, that this is your daughter. And I think that's so true. Like, I don't have kids of my own, but I know you do. It's just like, there's an underlying thing that's always going to be there. Just like, yeah, no, I'm always going to be like so happy that I'm your dad. That's the greatest thing ever. So yeah, I think it was just the most beautiful scene in this movie.
Yeah, it's really good, and really, really moving that it takes place kind of at a fire, right? At this burning of like what her 6th grade was and what she's kind of moving towards, a big change for her. Last one on the list I have here is dinner with Gabe. She goes over to Gabe's house, and he's just a fucking weirdo. And they eat McNuggets and fries and talk Rick and Morty, and I was loving every single second of this scene, dude.
You know what would go great with this? Some Szechuan sauce.
You like Rick and Morty too?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes! Yes, Morty. Szechuan sauce, Morty. We gotta get it, Morty. Come on, Morty. Come on.
Oh,
no,
geez,
Jerry,
Rick.
shut up. Morty, yes.
Rick, I don't know.
Yes,
so
yes,
cool.
Morty. Keep doing the voice, Morty. Yes, of course. That show's amazing.
Yeah.
It's the happiest scene ever, because it's like, yes, this is it. You have found.
You did it.
Your person, not like romantic person, but like the person who you are alike. Like you guys can get along. Like you know, kind of brushed him off at the party because he obviously wasn't cool, and you were trying to hang with the cool kids. But now you realize like, oh, we have more in common than I thought. And Gabe is just he's the man, dude. I love his like his mannerisms, you know, the stuff he would say, like, I got 2 of every sauce. If you have one that you like in particular, I'll be happy to give you mine because I like all the sauces equally. You know, just like your nuggets may be a little cold. I got them earlier because I didn't know what time you'd be coming over.
And it's the hand motions too. He does these hand like motions as he talks, and it's so funny.
But I love it because like, that's just who he is, you know, and it's so genuine. And I think it's really cool to see her be with someone that's like her, you know, once the Szechuan sauce comment comes out, it's like, oh fuck, it is on for these guys. They are friends now.
Yeah, absolutely. And too, like Gabe's vulnerability to be like, is this like, are you having a good time? Like, is this okay? Like, how do you feel about this conversation? And he says like, I think we're having a very good conversation. And she says the same. Like, that's kind of when those walls like officially break down for both of them. And they're like, okay, cool. Like there is no pressure. We can just we talk about whatever and like do normal things or weird things or talk about stupid archery awards. And like, that's totally okay. We think that's really cool. That was great. I'm going to be honest. That's going to be my true cinema moment. The humor that Bo is able to portray in that scene wins me over. I know the fire is really important. I know that they're like, you know, are very pivotal key scenes in this movie that are more cinematic, but Gabe is the fucking man. That's all I can say about that, dude. That's my pick.
He really is. Yeah, no, I love him. I mean, I think that's got to be up there. Before I give my pick, the thing that I laughed at the most, because it just made me think of middle school and how dumb everyone is in there, is it happens a couple times, but like one of the teachers is talking. I don't even remember exactly what the context of the scene is, but just some kid like off screen is like, LeBron James.
Yeah, you know, like, in the auditorium.
I lost it. Yeah, like, it's so funny. And it happens like twice, I think, in the movies because like LeBron James.
and then one of the teachers gets up on the podium, and as she gets up, someone's like, "Are you my mom?" And every kid just dies laughing. And it's just like,
so good.
I totally remember those kids. They were just spitting one-liners all day.
Yeah, exactly. Just throwing them out there. It's like, oh, I'm going to get some responses. So that for me, like made me laugh the most because I forgot about it. And it just like hit me out of nowhere. But my scene is actually right before the fire scene. And it's with the SpongeBob USB. We see it earlier when she gets her box, and she pulls out this little SpongeBob figurine, and we just think it's that. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, she likes SpongeBob, whatever. And then later on, after the truth or dare in the car, she pulls out her laptop. We get LeBron James. We get SpongeBob.
LeBron James.
And then like she opens it and plugs in the USB, and we just hear her. She's recorded a video of herself from 2 years ago when she was in 6th grade to the present day 8th grade version of herself, and just like, oh, you probably have a boyfriend or whatever. It's like, you're so cool now. I'm so proud of you. Then you realize like everything that she thought she wanted or was gonna have, she doesn't have. And I think that's the moment when she realizes like, okay, I don't have what I thought I was going to, but like I'm okay with what I do have. Like maybe I'm just not the person that I was projecting myself to be 2 years ago. And I think that's what leads to like, okay, I just need to burn this all down and start all over. And it leads to the very end of the movie where she's like talking to her high school self, and she's like, oh, I just want you to know I'm proud of you. Like, if you have a boyfriend, that's awesome. But if you don't, that's also cool. Like it's just a lot of like, you don't have to have done anything in particular. I'm proud of who you are. And that scene just always like kind of gets me, because it's just like, yeah, I think a lot of us go through these times in our life where it's like, well, this didn't turn out how I thought, but like I'm got to work with what I have, and I think this is like just the encapsulation of that. And it's such a great scene.
That's a good one. Classic Ben move. I love to see it. A1 acts here. We've got 2, and then we'll give a ranking. I'm gonna kick this one off. We're gonna go with Bo Burnham. I requested that we do this one. Bo has acted in a few things. He's directed a couple of things. So I'm just gonna roll through the list here. So directing, we have 8th grade, obviously. Inside, What, and Make Happy. And then for acting for Bo, Promising Young Woman, The Big Sick, Zach Stone Is Gonna Be Famous, and Funny People. Ben, you got something here you're gonna go with?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to shout out, Zach Stone's Gonna Be Famous. I think it's the MTV show that he did. He has a scene in Funny People where he's part of this like TV show within the movie called Yo Teach, which I think is just hilarious. But I'm going to go with Make Happy. I think Inside is amazing. And Make Happy is like the middle one. What was first, then Make Happy, and then Inside. So Inside was amazing given the stipulations that he had to work with, and What was fantastic because he was like testing out what it's like to have, some money to work with and a stage and all that. And for me, Make Happy is like the best of both, because I think he really mastered just everything he could pull off while doing, his routine. Wow. I think it's beautiful. There's a particular song in there called Can't Handle This. I'm, on YouTube right now. It's a 7-minute song. It's timely because it's kind of a Kanye rant about, how awful it is to be that kind of a person, and it has 35 million views right now. So, it's a great song, but the whole special is fantastic. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Make Happy.
Okay, I really want to watch this. I looked on IMDb, and the first 4 featured reviews are 10 stars, 10 out of 10. That I don't think I've ever seen that before. So that's pretty impressive. That's good. I'm gonna go with Inside. Like I said, that was like my introduction to Bo. That was like, I still listen to that album literally like on the daily. Like, Molly walked into my office today when my AirPods were dead, so my music was playing out loud, and she like looked confused, and I was like, what? And she was like, oh, I was just trying to figure out what you're listening to, and I was like, you already know what I'm listening to. I'm listening to Bo Burnham. Like, come on. So yeah, definitely going with that. Okay, next A1 act, coming of age movies. Obviously, A24, very good at coming of age films. As we know,
on the list.
Yeah, this is gonna be good. This is a tight list. We've got 8th grade. We've got American Graffiti, The Breakfast Club, Stand By Me, Boys in the Hood, Little Women, Virgin Suicides, Almost Famous, Moonlight, Call Me By Your Name, Lady Bird, Pretty in Pink, and Mid-90s. That's our short list here, and you're trying to do me in by putting Mid-90s on there, dude. I know that you're trying to trick me here.
I am indeed. I got to leave it out there and see what you're going to pick. Yeah, I mean, classic Ben. I'm gonna go off the list here. I had to save one for myself, and it's just one that I think is, it's just an absolute like masterpiece. It's so good, and it's Mean Girls.
Love it
with Lindsay Lohan, written by Tina Fey and just one of the best, high school movies, really coming of age. And the cast is awesome too. Rachel McAdams, Amy Poehler's in it, Tim Meadows. I don't know. It's such a great movie. So I'm going to go with Mean Girls for mine.
So fetch, dude. What a great pick.
So
very,
fetch,
very well done. That's awesome. Yeah. My quick Mean Girls story is that I had never seen it, and Molly would continually, she grew up on it and wanted me to see it. Finally, last year for Christmas, she bought me a DVD, and we stuck it in my Xbox, and we watched the DVD quality of Mean Girls because she couldn't wait any longer for me to watch it, and I was not disappointed. It was great. That's a really good pick. That's good. Yeah, look, people are gonna be mad, but what are you gonna do? Like, I'm sticking with mid-90s. That's my fucking jam. That's just it for me. That's really, really good stuff. It's really, it kind of encapsulates something that a lot of other coming of age movies don't for me, and that's like this longing to have wished to have grown up in that era and in that geographical location with that group of people. Like, I wish that was part of my life, and that wasn't. I didn't grow up in California. I didn't grow up in the skate scene. That wasn't me. And it's like anytime I watch a video where someone's like, yeah, like, I grew up in Brooklyn, and it's like, fuck, I want to be you. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So like Mid-90s just like steals that, and that kind of is that like a little extra edge for me. So I'm gonna go with that, but I think Stand By Me gets a shout too. That's like my classic pick. Yeah. I think that's a good one.
I had to limit it just to 2 John Hughes movies because like you could put obviously you put Ferris on there. You could there's so much stuff you could put on there, but
it's dangerous, man, dangerous. A24 ranking. We've got A through F 24. 8th grade is sitting pretty high on a lot of people's lists. I will say there's a lot of love for this movie out there. What do you got? What is your grade, Ben?
Before I had rewatched this, I probably would have given it like an A24 minus, just like, oh yeah, it's really good, whatever. But having rewatched it, it's an A24 plus, like without a doubt. Like I mean, we talked about it, but like, it's just the most realistic portrayal of what it's like to be in middle school, done by someone who like grew up with internet fame. So he knew exactly what it's like, to be that kind of person, to grow up that way. Mm-hmm. I just think it's perfect. I can't imagine what you could do to this movie to make it better. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that's kind of it. So A24 plus. Wow.
I am proud of you. I think that's fantastic. A24 plus. I love that. I think I'm going to go with an A24 minus. I think I'm going to give it an A24 minus. I do think it is absolutely, without a doubt, A quality when it comes to A24. Mm-hmm. It is unique and personable and different and something unique. And I think Bo really manages to do that with the music and the kind of camera style. And excuse me, there's one scene in particular that I'm thinking of when Kayla's on the phone with her high school shadow, and we're getting a back and forth camera, right, as she's pacing her room. And then when she finally gets invited to the mall, the camera stops. The camera freezes. And we get this really smart, like kind of literal sense of she's calm now because she's been accepted, because she is part of the cool group. And so I think there's a lot of moments like that make it an A-quality film. I'm just going to give it the minus because there are a few other A24 movies that I like. Personally, if it was up against them, I would pick the other movies. Like, I would pick something else to be like, oh, I'm going to watch that. But I do think when it comes to like recommending, if someone's like, yo, I need a good A24 movie, it's like, have you seen 8th grade? Probably not. You should definitely watch that. It's a tight 90. Yeah. It's really, really well done, well written, hilarious. The banana scene, we didn't even talk about the banana scene. There's some really, really good stuff. And I want to mention really, really quick the banana scene. The fact that the dad is like, I think I wrote that down in my notes on my phone somewhere. Iconic, dude. I think it's a great. I think it's a great movie. Absolutely a great movie.
Yeah, I think it's a great choice. As far as the banana scene, I mean, for different reasons, I was kind of in that same situation. I was over with my buddy Tyler, who you know.
Oh yeah.
We were able to go over to Kenya to shoot something, and as we were driving, our driver like bought us a bunch of plantains to eat like on the drive to where we were going. And I was sitting up front with him. He's like, here you go. And like, I hate bananas. I hate the texture of them.
Ben, me too. Bananas are from Satan. Let's go.
They're the worst. But this guy hands me 2 of them. He's like, here, I got these for you. And I was like, no, thank you. He's like, no, man, like we have like a 3-hour ride. Like we got to eat something. It's like, no. Okay. So I felt like, hey, like sitting in that kitchen, just like, this is delicious. Like it was just some of the worst stuff. Like I know they don't taste bad, but the texture just like drives me crazy.
Did you eat them? You ate both of them?
I did. I was literally in the front cab with him. Like the rest of the people were in the back of the van, so they could just like not eat it. But I was up front with him, and so it's just like, well, I can't just sit on these for like 3 hours. Like he's gonna notice. And it was kind of like, hey, how's your stuff? I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I got to start. So, yeah, that was super rough, but that was the beginning of a great trip.
That's a tough beat. I'm so sorry, Ben. That's traumatic.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, but I wanted to clarify. It wasn't for the same reasons that we had.
Yeah, a little different situation.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I love this movie. I think it falling into the A qualification for both of us, like totally makes sense. I'm really happy that everyone picked this. Like I said, I'm glad I got to revisit it. It had been a while. And it was just fun to see like just how great this movie is. And just remember all that. So thank you to the listeners who voted for this. I think this was a great selection. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We want to know what you guys thought about 8th grade, why you guys wanted us to watch it. Let us know on Twitter or Instagram. You can hit us up at 24 minutes of 824. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube, because now you can see our beautiful faces if you would like to do that. So same thing at 824 or at 24 minutes of 824 on there as well. All the links are in the notes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, thanks so much for choosing this. I am Ben Lawhorn.
And I am Ethan Simi. Spring break forever, bitches. Gucci.